Now that's out of the way. I will build background. So I had a roommate named Adrian Michael. You can look her up if you like. We were very close friends and she needed a place to live, so we moved in together. I was pregnant and we celebrated every aspect of my pregnancy together. She made an appointment to freeze her eggs because she was in her late 20s and she did not believe her eggs would be good by the time she was ready to have a baby. I'm giving these details so you can see what situations we found ourselves. A few days later, my due date, her service cat alerted me. I was going to be sick. Sure enough, I was. I went to the doctor just to be safe. For the reason I won't get into on this post, they illegally held me there and coerced me into having an unnecessary C section, which was my greatest fear. 2 weeks later, I was in a spiral of depression and unable to do my usual tasks. I usually cooked and cleaned her. I usually cooked and cleaned for her. She spiraled in her. She spiraled into her ED and lost lots of weight very quickly as she quit exercising. Another thing I won't talk about in detail on this post but may detail later. She had a very bad day, and that's the night she died. So after that, we had to move. Our first day, looking, we found a two-bedroom house on the lake for 750 a month. Similar houses were going for 1400 plus at the time. So we felt extremely blessed. We were the only applicants, and the owner said his wife could not handle living in the house, but would not explain why. So we moved in, and within a few days, the place started feeling unsafe. We felt like we were being watched. The place really obviously wasn't under the surveillance, but it felt like a spiritual thing. I have always been kind of sensitive to spirits, and here was no exception. It started pretty benign, like feeling I wasn't alone in the kitchen or the laundry room, and that was fine. We just figured maybe Adrian was stopping by. I would talk to her sometimes and tell her I would miss her. But then the dreams started. Pretty standard dreams usually. Feeling like my daughter was in danger. Feeling like I was falling, seeing shadows in my lucid dreams. But I had a dream about Adrian, and she was sitting drinking tea, and after a tearful reunion, she told me about. But I had a dream about Adrian, and she was sitting drinking tea, and after a tearful reunion, she told me that it wasn't safe to be where she was, and she had to leave, and something kept lurking in the shadows. She told me not to look for it because it is going to cause me even greater pain. When I woke up, my baby was screaming in her crib, and there were really huge ants over her. She would have been bitten a few times. It was winter, and there was no ants in the house that we knew of. We kept the place really clean. We put out ant poison, but we never figured out where they came from, and we never saw them again. They vanished. My chinchillas would bark a lot when they would normally been quiet before. Soon after I was cleaning and I found looked like a bloody handprint in the closet. I took photos, but they were on my old computer which I cannot turn on anymore. The handprint was very clearly that of a child. When we moved in, I put all of the Adrian's stuff in the spare room, and I never went in there. Her parents took only her photos and her cat. So we had the rest of her life in this room. I was organizing in the room when I opened the closet and saw an attic bolted shut and painted over. I could see it hadn't been opened since it had been repainted, but in the back corner of the closet was a tiny chair built in. I got spooked immediately by something falling off the table in the room, so I went out and took care of that, shut the door, and didn't go back in there. That night was the first night I saw something. My husband was in the bedroom changing the baby, and we were talking. The kitchen has a view into a laundry room, and I saw him there. Was talking to him. I went to the bedroom to put something away to find he was actually in there. I was extremely unsettled by this because I had never seen anything pretend to be someone I loved. After this experience, I had my very religious mother go through with some church friend and bless the place. It still felt like I was being watched, but I was able to ignore it now. By the time my baby started walking, I spiraled again into the depression. I always kept the blinds closed and lived in the dark. Seldom did I even have the TV. My mom was over a lot, but I quit cleaning and I can't remember a lot of it, honestly. I felt immense guilt that my roommate died because I could not remember a lot of it. I felt immense guilt that my roommate died because I could not be better for her, which rationally I know is not correct, but I was really messed up during this time. It was deep winter when I felt this extreme chill like all the doors were suddenly open at once. My scented candle flickered and almost went out, but I could not move. I was holding my sleeping baby, and out of the corner of my eye, I saw something crawling on the floor. It was large, like a man, but proportions were off, and arms were way too long. It was walking toward us, and everything in me was screaming not to look at it. I could see it coming towards me, but entryway door opened, and my husband came home early to surprise me with dinner. I told him about it later when I could think about it. I saw the figure several more times, but there was nothing we could do. Our lease did not end for a few more months, so we just sucked it up and dealt with the fear. I looked into the history of the house, and one of the people who lived there was a police chief who was jailed for abusing his daughter. It was a trap house at one point, too, and someone had been killed nearby. There is a probably a lot of experience I had in that house that is that I shut out of my mind, but this is everything that really stands out to me. The house felt suffocating at times and like I was being pushed out. The landlord had a second house available for only 450 a month, so we moved out the day after we found about the other rental place. So no one stays living there long. Most people have stayed about 4 months before they leave. Since the events of this story, my life have improved incredibly. I haven't I haven't had a single bout of depression since living there. And I have 3 children who all are very happy and healthy. My oldest sees ghosts and has past life memories she tells me about, but I'll save that for the future. I've been meaning to write this for over 6 years now. If you read it all, thank you. I appreciate getting it off my chest. It's been a long journey.